Over 50% of humanity inhabits urban environments, yet not every settlement conforms to our traditional expectations of what a city should be. I will present to you metropolitan areas whose very existence challenges belief. We begin our exploration with a settlement positioned along the Atlantic Ocean's coastline. In this location, situated in proximity to Lagos, a diminutive fishing community once existed. Yet presently, this segment of Lagos has transformed into what essentially constitutes a completely independent urban entity constructed upon compacted refuse landfills. Residential structures are positioned directly above the water's surface, representing among the planet's most extraordinary locations, distinguished by overwhelming destitution. This constitutes the globe's most expansive water-based slum settlement. The comparison to Venice proves inappropriate. The visual landscape appears dystopian. To this day, precise population figures remain unknown. Estimates range from hundreds of thousands to considerably higher numbers. Official demographic surveys recorded 250,000 inhabitants, though widespread belief suggests these statistics were deliberately minimized to obscure the magnitude of the crisis. Individuals first witnessing this location naturally question how inhabitants manage to sustain themselves. The environment lacks agricultural potential, contains no vegetation, and provides no fuel-gathering opportunities. Existence within these boundaries proves extraordinarily challenging. The population endures circumstances that approach uninhabitability. Reproductive rates demonstrate exceptional elevation. Individual males frequently maintain relationships with 3 to 4 spouses, producing offspring with each partner. Birth counts of 5 to 7 children per individual female occur regularly. Nigeria possesses extraordinary natural resource wealth, yet these valuable materials generate greater profit through international export rather than supporting the impoverished domestic population. Resource benefits rarely reach the local community. Lagos developed through this process, serving as Nigeria's capital city. The settlement ranks among the planet's most rapidly expanding metropolitan areas. Regarding slum dimensions, it similarly maintains a prominent position globally. The slum district possesses its distinctive designation, Makoko. Official references frequently employ the term Black Venice. Exceptionally limited educator and law enforcement presence per inhabitant renders Nigerian slum areas particularly undesirable. Healthcare provision quality deserves no discussion whatsoever. Combined with appalling sanitation standards, these factors explain the notable absence of elderly residents. Careful observation of this nation reveals virtually no aged population. The vast majority of inhabitants perish during relatively early life stages. Numerous deaths result from HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, infection. Additional fatalities stem from malaria, hepatitis, meningitis, typhoid fever, gastrointestinal infections, and similar conditions. Without adequate medical intervention, merely 5% of slum inhabitants survive to reach 60 years of age. Historically, a modest fishing settlement operated here, providing marine products throughout Lagos. However, contemporary coastal contamination has rendered these waters unsuitable for commercial fishing activities. Despite this, venturing further from urban areas permits limited fishing success for fortunate individuals, explaining why fishing continues as the primary occupation among water slum inhabitants. Remaining residents commute daily to Lagos for employment opportunities. Offensive odors permeate the aquatic environment. Dense waste accumulation surrounds the support pillars of unauthorized dwellings. Statistical data indicates each floating residence accommodates between 6 to 10 individuals on average. Economic migrants from throughout West Africa converge upon this location. Numerous inhabitants lack property ownership, existing solely as tenants. Wooden watercraft provide the exclusive transportation method for local residents. Every household possesses these vessels. Children have developed even more creative mobility solutions. Boats simultaneously serve fishing purposes and function as commercial venues where women market food products, water supplies, and domestic necessities. Educational facilities constructed from plastic containers operate on the water. Periodic storm damage destroys these structures, leaving children in certain districts without educational access for extended periods. Financially capable parents may transport their children to neighboring districts containing alternative overcrowded floating educational institutions. Government services exclude complimentary water provision to Makoko inhabitants. Purchasing water from vendors who obtain supplies from drilling wells represents the singular method for acquiring potable water. Complete waste and sewage disposal occurs directly into ocean waters, creating the same environment where children engage in recreational activities. Nonetheless, residents attempt various entertainment activities within these circumstances. Dwellings equipped with electrical power contain dated television sets and contemporary gaming systems, such as PlayStation 2 consoles. These items represent technological advancement from their perspective. Barbering establishments and modest dining facilities operate within the community. The slum area demonstrates one significant benefit: comparatively reduced criminal activity relative to broader Lagos. Utility payments remain absent due to the complete lack of utility infrastructure. Nigerian governmental authorities have repeatedly attempted slum demolition, justifying actions through environmental hazard claims, yet failed to provide alternative mainland housing for displaced residents. Demolition efforts triggered resident uprisings, compelling governmental withdrawal. Severe unemployment necessitates early childhood integration into intensive labor activities. Approximately one-third of Nigeria's population lacks literacy skills. Fortunate individuals occasionally accumulate sufficient funds for European travel, where minimum wage employment provides income levels substantially exceeding domestic earning potential. A 10-kilometer bridge structure enhances the location's visual drama, while distant contemporary buildings generate genuinely surreal imagery. Let's move on to the next unusual city. Before you is El Ahmadiyya, a city that looks like it was drawn in Photoshop, but this is reality. Located in Iraqi Kurdistan. Just one look at it immediately tells you that this is quite an old city, built in times when height had strategic importance. El Ahmadiyya is located on a flat mountaintop at an elevation of 1,400 meters, about 4,600 feet. Living in houses on the edge of a cliff might be scary, but from their windows opens a stunning view of the valley. The city was founded back in the 3rd millennium BC, and since then it has never grown in size for obvious reasons. There's simply nowhere to expand. Buildings don't possess levitation abilities. So, as it was thousands of years ago, 1 kilometer long and 500 meters wide, it has remained. For a long time, access to the town was only possible through a narrow stairway passage carved into the stone, but now a good road has been built. The city was conceived as an impregnable fortress, which is why different peoples and states in the region always tried to possess this excellent stronghold. El Ahmadiyya is a multi-ethnic and multi-religious city. Muslims here coexist perfectly with Christians. The current population is about 8 to 11,000 people. There's everything needed for normal life here: shops, restaurants, police, and other services. Nevertheless, due to the impossibility of population growth because of limited territory that doesn't allow building new houses, native residents are often forced to relocate from the city. Locals mainly earn from agriculture and some tourism. El Ahmadiyya residents are trying to register the city in the UNESCO World Heritage Registry to attract more tourists. The next unusual city on our list is La Rinconada. It also looks very fantastical, like from some movie. This city lost in the mountains is called by many Hell on Earth. It's located in Peru on an extinct volcano. This city isn't just located high above sea level, it holds first place in the world in this regard. This is the highest mountain city on planet Earth. More than 5 kilometers, over 16,000 feet, above sea level. It's as if the city were located on Mount Elbrus. Just imagine what kind of oxygen starvation the local population must experience, since the atmosphere at such heights is very thin. This significantly affects life expectancy. However, oxygen starvation, although one of the main problems of the city, is far from the only one. The climate here is harsh, lots of rain in summer and dry winters, with an average annual temperature of just 1 degree Celsius, about 34 degrees Fahrenheit. More than 30,000 people live in these unfriendly conditions. Actually, 30,000 was according to 2009 counts. Since then, the population has increased significantly. But what attracts people here? The answer: wages. This is a mining town with many gold deposits, so the gold rush has brought many workers here who can earn up to $200 per month. It doesn't sound like much, but for this country, the salary isn't small. People are willing to endure difficult working conditions, harsh climate, and lack of comfort. The absence of proper government control has made mining chaotic. The city has no administration. Anarchy reigns. Almost all mining companies operating here do so informally. There's no point talking about proper safety techniques, so miners constantly risk their lives. Many accidents happen here. Gold extraction is carried out using outdated methods. Precious metals are extracted from or using mercury, which has poisoned the local soil, water, and air with this toxic metal. This leads to many people getting sick from mercury poisoning. As a result, due to oxygen starvation, mercury poisoning, harsh living, and working conditions, people here live on average only to 50 years old. That's 20 years less than the national average. Everything is made worse by the extremely high crime rate. Police exist here, but officers only come on temporary assignments for short periods. The main entertainment for locals is drinking. There's also prostitution, even involving minors. It's better not to go into brothels and clubs. They're flooded with drunk marginals spending money so hard-earned in the mines. All this leads to venereal diseases reigning in the city, including HIV. From the outside, the city looks quite atmospheric, but as soon as you enter it, disappointment knows no bounds. People live in squalid shacks covered with metal sheets scattered all over the slopes. Garbage is everywhere if you stray even slightly from the main streets. A foul smell can greet you in any part of the city. Sewage systems are poorly developed, so sewage often flows directly onto the streets. Most buildings aren't heated, but electricity is available, and some even have internet. According to doctors, about 30 people die annually in the mines due to accidents, and another 70 people die due to crime. The city's pollution and altitude lead to kidney failure, nervous system problems, and so on. Live here for several years and chronic diseases are guaranteed. Many women suffer from urinary tract infections, all because of sewage problems. By the way, the $200 salary I mentioned earlier doesn't go to everyone here. Many get nothing at all, as a very interesting system is common here where workers work for free for a month, and on the last day the company gives them the right to take as much or as they can carry themselves. The chance that the rocks a worker takes contain gold is not high. It will be even harder for him to sell what he finds for a fair price. Local buyers do nothing but maximize price dumping. While the city's men work in the mines, their wives sift through waste rock, hoping to find at least a grain of gold that the gold mining company missed. Children are often involved in this work too. What's more, children even used to work in the mines. Today, the city's mines allegedly extract about 10 tons of gold annually, though these figures are hardly trustworthy given the flourishing black market. The government ignores the lawlessness and anarchy happening here. The city is actually ruled by gold mining companies that don't particularly worry about improving working conditions, workers' lives, or improving city life. I think now you understand why this city is called Hell on Earth. Despite all the hopelessness in the city, there's no shortage of people wanting to live and work here, as this is possibly their only chance to earn any substantial money. Let's move on to the next unusual settlement, Yongsan, the narrowest city in the world. These shots showing the city from a bird's eye view quickly went viral online. Some even thought it was computer graphics. People wonder why anyone would want to live in such a narrow settlement when China has much more suitable places. Well, why not live in such an atmospheric place that seems to come from some fantasy? The city can expand in width, mountains prevent it. At its narrowest point, Yongsan is only 30 meters wide, while the widest part of the city is about 300 meters. Besides its extreme narrowness, the city has another feature. Since land is valuable in this area, most of the multi-story houses are located right on the riverbank. They're built on high, thin stilts to protect people's homes from possible flooding if water levels rise. The city is located between steep mountains in China's Yongsan province, and about 40,000 people live here. Infrastructure and roads laid through a 2-kilometer tunnel drilled through the mountains maintain life in the city. Tourists also contribute to the city's economy, coming here to personally see these unrealistic views as if from a parallel universe. Although until recently there weren't that many tourists, internet promotion has improved the situation. Strangely, there are few bridges here, though it's hard to think of a city more in need of them. The climate here is mild, no cold winters, warm almost year-round, and frequent rains. Thanks to this, many locals earn money growing rice. Other residents work on the railroad or are involved in serving the tourism industry. Nevertheless, the city is gradually emptying due to its difficult accessibility, despite even having a railroad. Besides, new permanent residents almost never move here. I don't understand why they would want to live in such a cramped place, especially one that's dangerous due to frequent floods. People have died here because of them. During floods, the river rises so high it can flood not only the lower floors, and the stilts the houses stand on not only don't save them, but can collapse. However, local residents don't even think about leaving. Their ancestors lived in these places hundreds of years ago. They've long gotten used to it. Life in the world's narrowest city, while not the most comfortable, is definitely atmospheric. The views here are stunning, and one hopes this place won't be abandoned over time. Next, we have another Chinese city, Chongqing. This is the world's largest megacity that, as internet jokes go, nobody knows about. There's more truth in this joke than you might think. Despite its status as the largest populated area on the planet, almost no one outside China really knows about it, though you've probably seen footage from it. For example, these shots where trains run through the city's buildings. These shots became very popular on the internet, and there's also one of the world's most complex traffic interchanges here. The city is growing at an indecent speed, the numbers are off the charts, and the city's agglomeration is the size of an entire country like Austria. Everything old here is quickly demolished, and new construction happens at incredible speed. Entire old neighborhoods here can disappear in one day and be replaced very quickly. Thanks to a huge network of multi-level roads and countless skyscrapers, Chongqing looks like a city from the future. From some angles, it's straight cyberpunk. While Hollywood makes blockbusters about future cities, the Chinese are building them right now. Two rivers of different colors meet in Chongqing, and the boundary between them is often clearly visible. These rivers have an indecent number of grandiose bridges, including the world's longest arch bridge. In any other city, they would become its main attractions, but here you might not even notice them against everything else. The Chongqing metro system is a separate story. This city has over 200 stations, one of which, as I mentioned, is located in a residential building, occupying the 6th through 8th floors. Tracks and rails go directly through this building, but there's no discomfort for the building's residents since noise-dampening materials were used during station construction. This cyberpunk station was built due to an acute lack of space in the densely populated part of the city. Due to lack of space in the city, you can see even more cyberpunk parking facilities. Remember in Fast and Furious 3, Tokyo Drift, there was a cool parking structure? Well, here it's implemented even cooler. How about this, for example? A driver drives onto a platform and leaves the car, after which the platform with the car rises to a certain level and moves aside. In 2019, a smart parking tower for 397 cars appeared. There you can park your car in just 1 minute by scanning a QR code. The roads here are also made with intelligence. Despite one of the world's most complex traffic interchanges, consisting of 20 levels on 5 tiers, you won't have problems choosing the right direction. And if you get lost, you can return by driving at most a kilometer until you find the right turn. The number of residents in Chongqing exceeds all norms of decency, 32 million people officially, but that's according to the 2009 census. Conservative estimates suggest the population has grown to 40 million since then. That's more than all of Canada's population. Life is bustling here. The same can't be said about the next city called Colma, located in the USA near San Francisco. This is one of the world's most unusual cities. 73% of the city's territory is cemeteries. For every 1,000 dead people here, there's one living person, and that's not an exaggeration. Wherever you look, graves are everywhere. That's why this city is also called the City of the Dead. All streets are lined with tombstones. A total of 1.5 million people are buried here. But this city is quiet and peaceful. That's why another name for the city is the City of Silence. The huge number of dead here is explained quite simply. Burying people in San Francisco territory is too expensive, so authorities banned doing it there. A century ago, 150,000 bodies from San Francisco cemeteries were transported and reburied here. Since then, many of San Francisco's deceased are buried here. The place is quite cinematic, so various films have been shot here. Today, there are 1,500 above-ground residents in the city and 1.5 million underground. But there exists a real underground city where people live. It's called Cultivate, located in the center of the Australian desert. It's literally the world capital of opal. 30% of the world's opal deposits are here, and 97% of all world opal mining happens right here. All the city's infrastructure is buried underground. Hotels, shops, houses, schools, 3 churches, museums, bars, restaurants, libraries, and everything else. There's even an underground cemetery here. All this is located at depths of several meters underground, sometimes even tens of meters. The thing is, on the desert surface it's extremely hot, up to 45 degrees Celsius, 113 degrees Fahrenheit, and previously there were no air conditioners. Cooling a house was impossible, so it was decided to build the city underground, all for opal mining. The result is a city like in apocalypse movies. Even today, city residents prefer to rise to the hot surface as rarely as possible. By the way, the name Cultivate translates from Aboriginal as white man's hole. Residents' homes are large caves consisting of a living room, kitchen, bathroom, and 4 bedrooms. People tried to dig their homes so that the exit led not only to the street, but directly into the multi-kilometer mine shaft where opal mining took place, which is extremely convenient. Underground homes always remain relatively cool, maintaining a constant temperature of 23 degrees Celsius, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, while surface homes can reach 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. These homes are equipped with all modern comforts: sewage, electricity, plumbing, and internet. There are even houses with underground pools. The only minus of underground homes is the absence of windows, except for those houses built on slopes. It's not surprising that films are often shot against this city's backdrop. For example, Mad Max 3 and The Chronicles of Riddick were filmed here. There are also spectacular sandstorms here. There's speculation that Mars colonization will be carried out similarly to Cultivate's construction. They even plan to conduct training here before flights to the Red Planet. Electricity in this city is mainly generated by solar panels, and it's extremely cheap here since this desert has constant sunshine. Another amusing point: if you buy a plot here to dig yourself a house, you might accidentally get rich. For example, when drilling for a hotel location, opals worth $360,000 were found. The city's population is small, just a couple thousand people, and recently above-ground construction has begun appearing in Cultivate, thanks to air conditioning. Nevertheless, most residents spend most of their time underground. This unusual place attracts tourists from around the world, so its economy is heavily tied to this, and tourism has begun bringing in as much money as opal mining. Very similar to Cultivate is the city of Sentinel de las Bodegas in Spain, which is carved into a cliff face and looks very impressive. Sentinel resembles a city from The Lord of the Rings. Basalt rock on the slope where the settlement is located serves as roofs and walls for houses. And this is Whittier, a city in Alaska where almost the entire population lives in one building. But in this building, besides residential apartments, there's absolutely everything: supermarket, hospital, police station, church, post office, and other necessities, all under one roof. Wherever you want to go, you don't need to leave the building. And you wouldn't want to, since the local climate is quite harsh. Hurricane-force winds with speeds reaching 100 kilometers per hour are common. And there's no sun from November to February. On the plus side, the city has an extremely low crime rate since all locals know each other by sight. And it would be hard to hide if something happened, since the city's only exit is a tunnel carved through the mountain. In conditions of isolation, neighbors here try to be as friendly as possible, since in case of any problems, help from the mainland might not arrive quickly. Students often do homework in teachers' apartments. With the outside world, you can communicate via internet. Now only a few people remain in the city, just over 200, but it still has city status. The government has somewhat forgotten about it and hasn't repaired earthquake-damaged buildings, despite promises. Because of this, many people left. Only recently have investments started flowing here again. The main workplace in the city is the port, which receives ships with tourists who come to admire this unusual place and the local beautiful nature. That's all. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and watch the 2 previous videos.